Hi, credit union friends. Welcome to the BD Now channel. Today, we are diving into a real life example about how to bring value to the human resource community. We have Michelle Kollmer with us from Broadview Federal Credit Union, and you're in upstate New York, right, Michelle?
Yes, I am.
Yes. Well, welcome to the BD Now channel.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Michelle, why don't you tell me a little bit about your role with Broadview?
Well, I'm one of the relationship managers here at Broadview. And basically, what that is we work with our local SEG groups to help them offer the credit union benefit to their employees.
Okay. And your department name is a little unique in the credit union space. Can you share what that is?
Yeah, so our department name is called Business Experience. And, throughout the years, we've been business development, we've been a lot of names, but we started really looking and saying, what are we providing to our SEGs? And we hope that we're providing an experience. So we kind of took on that name.
That's great. I like that. I like that name a lot. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing with your events for the HR community?
Yeah, so we have an event that we do. It's called the Ambassador Breakfast. And I've been with the credit union for a little over 7 years. But before I came, they were doing this event. And basically, it's an event that we host for our HR partners. We do it roughly around 3 times a year. We try to do one, in February, and then we do May and we do October. And basically, what we try to do is we try to bring in outside speakers or we do some sort of panel, and it's really on a topic that I guess you consider hot, right, in the HR world. And we try to get that topic accredited through SHRM so that the HR folks can use that as a continuing education credit, because they need that for their work. Um, we originally started these events, right, and we're using them for our current SEG partners, right, our HR partners, but now we've opened it up, and we use it for prospecting as well, right? So we do sort of promote it on social media so that we try to do some prospecting, right, and bring in some new organizations that maybe don't know about Broadview, and they can learn about us as well, but also network with their colleagues, right, in the same field.
Yeah. Two things really caught my attention when you shared this with me, and I think you saw me light up because one, um, it's they get something, and there's really super a lot of value with that SHRM credit, right? They really need those, and so finding easy ways for them to do that and network with their peers is important. And then the other thing was the prospects. I mean, I think I came in when you were doing that as a prospect tool. So you're able to invite new people into this. And for those of us, there might be some people out there that don't know what SHRM is. Can you explain what SHRM is?
So SHRM is the Society for Human Resource Management, and it's a group with HR professionals. And you can apply to SHRM. There's a dollar cost, right, to the credit union, but you can apply and be a partner with them. And then when you have programs like this, you can go through them, submit your program, and then they accredit the program. And then that's how you can offer your continuing education credits.
Have all of your programs been approved?
They have. They
They
have.
have. Okay.
It's a pretty simple process. You just have to, give them the topic, the speaker, you have to give them a little background. But it's fairly easy and it's not a big lift on our part. So, when we originally started these breakfasts, right, we used to ask the speaker to get the program accredited, right? But then we're kind of like, as it went on, I kind of said, to my counterparts, like, we're asking these people, right, to come in, and most of the time, actually, not most of the time, all of the time, it's free, right? They don't charge us. And now we're asking them to do this additional step. So I said, why don't we just get the accreditation? Because we're asking them to do it for no cost. And then we can say, hey, it's all covered. We're good.
Does SHRM help you promote the event?
They don't. We've never asked them. So I mean, I'm sure they probably would, but we kind of do it on our own.
So SHRM is national, right? And most places do have a SHRM. I think it's called chapter. Is that right?
Yes, yeah, correct.
Chapter. So most cities do have a SHRM chapter. And within that chapter, is there a leadership, like a committee, or like who runs the chapters?
Yeah, so locally in our area here in the capital region of Albany, we have Capital Region Human Resource Association, and that kind of rolls up under SHRM, and so we work with them closely as well. And we're kind of, really looking, on the horizon and saying, okay, what's next for this breakfast, right? How can we kind of make this bigger? How can we make it better? And how can we reach more people? So we've been talking to our, Capital Region Human Resource Association and saying, okay, can we partner on this? What does that look like? So I think that's kind of the next steps for us, to kind of just make this bigger.
What kind of participation do you get in the breakfast?
It's funny because it all depends on the topic, right? And the time of
Always.
year. So we can get anywhere from, I think, 40 upwards to 100 people. We just had one in February and we had 50 people there. And we haven't pretty much planned out for the year. So we have one scheduled for May and October, and both of those are going to be a panel discussion. And I don't know, those seem to draw in more people. So I think we're going to have a big turnout for both of those.
Do you do any kind of networking component of the meeting before it kicks off, other than just mingling at breakfast?
Yeah, we do. So we usually have people come, we have a light breakfast, and then we sort of kick it off, we meaning Broadview, and we do kind of like a what's new at Broadview. And it's only like a little 5 or 10 minute thing. And then we introduce the speaker or the panelists, and we have the program, which is usually about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, but we try to keep it to 45 minutes, and that includes Q&A. And then after that, we urge people to stay after and network with their counterparts, because I just think that's good for them, right? I feel like HR people don't get out of the office much, right? They're kind of stuck
True.
in the office. They don't get to go out and do these kinds of things. So when they do get out, we're like, hey, stay, like have coffee, meet some people. So we do
Do
encourage that.
they?
They do.
Do they?
They actually
Yeah,
do.
that's
And we
great.
try to we try to make the connections for them too, If I'm talking with a group of people, I try to introduce them, this is so and so from this organization. So we try to do that as well for them.
So always a question that comes up, like, what's the best day of the week people will actually leave? Because some HR people are still working remote or in the office, they're busy. So have
Yeah.
you played around with different days and landed on the day?
We usually do Wednesday or Thursday. We definitely don't do Mondays and Fridays, right? And I don't know, Tuesday kind of feels like Monday sometimes, because you're catching up. So we usually do a Wednesday or a Thursday.
Okay. And have you found that breakfast is better than lunch?
We do. I feel like, and I used to say this all the time. I feel like, I say once they get in, once they get you in the office or you get started, right, you can't get away. So we usually start at around 7:45, and we're usually done by 9:30. So we usually try to keep it, pretty tight.
Okay. Okay. I'm curious, do you say like bring a friend to those great HR contacts you have, and do they
We
bring
do.
others?
We
Okay,
do. And
awesome.
we even though we're sending the invitation out to our HR partners, we say to them, share this with your leadership team.
Mm.
Because it's no cost for them to come. We don't charge them to come to the breakfast. So we say to them, you can bring as many people as you want. So share it with your leadership team. It might be a topic they're interested in.
What about venue? Have you switched up the venue?
We don't. We have a venue in one of our office locations, and it's an auditorium style seating.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, so we use
Wow.
that venue, and it works out really good.
Yeah. And what about follow-up, Michelle? What are you doing? So you have these people coming that are yours, and then you have people coming that are prospects. How are you keeping in touch with them?
Yeah, so basically what we do, if there is someone who comes to the event that we don't currently have in our database or information first thing first is we put them in our database, right? So that they can continue to get these emails about the breakfast events. And then we also do outreach to them. And, we try to say, hey, thanks for coming to the breakfast. We'd love to get on, a quick 30-minute call with you to kind of learn more about your organization and for you to learn more about Broadview and see if there's an opportunity for us to partner. Actually, the breakfast we just had last month, I just secured a meeting with one of the organizations that came. So I'm going to be talking to them probably, I think it's next month because March is a little busy. So probably in April, we have a call scheduled. So,
Good.
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I think the more they see our name out there, the more they continue to come to our events and hear about what we're doing. I think the more value they see.
Yes, the value is the key word, isn't it? Because you're getting almost that's part of your brand now that you're providing value more than just the financial well-being. You're understanding the needs of HR, you're listening, so you're learning from these
Right.
speakers as well. You and your team are learning along the way.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things, right? I mean, as a credit union, right, we're working with organizations to help them provide the credit union benefit to their employees, but our main contacts, right, and the people we work with are HR. So what are we actually doing for them? Yes, we're making their life a little bit easier because we might be helping them with financial wellness or things like that. But what can we do for them, right? And how can we be a connector for them?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Be a connector. We can do more. Well, as you know, we end on a social spotlight. So, can you tell us who you follow in the social sphere and why?
So I follow this, and you might know, and other people might know, an article. It's called HR Brew. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but I kind
I
of
have.
subscribe to that and I
Yep.
read that. It comes out, I think, every day or every other day or once a week. And I read that just to keep up on what's going on in the HR world, right? Because those are our people. And if we don't know, we're kind of a little bit behind the gun. So,
Yes. Yeah. Agree. I think that's sometimes a miss for us. We don't know enough about what the HR leaders are dealing with and what their challenges are and what their initiatives and goals are for 2025. And even having those conversations, if you're going to promote and do a program like this,
sure.
talk to your people first and then have them help you even maybe curate some content for it. So you're really collaboratively coming up with those ideas. So
Yeah.
HR Brew, follow that.
Yeah, absolutely. We even reach out to some of like we're having our panel in October. One of our HR folks from one of our bigger segs is going to be on the panel. So we're
Hmm,
even trying to kind of, incorporate them a little bit more and say, "Hey, be on the panel. Like give us your feedback."
great idea. Great idea.
Yeah.
Well, Michelle, you've given us a lot to think about. I love that you've taken action on this and you're providing so much value to the HR community. I don't see why we all can't do this across the country. We all have speakers and people in our area that are experts on different things. We all have facilities, or we could go down to the coffee shop that has a community room.
Mhm.
It's accessible. It's not high cost, right? You're just buying the breakfast. Yeah.
No, it's very reasonable.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us, and you have inspired us, and we appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Julie. I appreciate you having me.
Great. We'll see you next time, everyone.